In this video, we strive to remain spoiler-free, discussing only story and plot elements from the books relevant to what has occurred already on the show.
Bill.
Oh, hey, I'm Bill. Sorry.
I'm Jim.
And I'm the Geeky Hippie. Welcome back to What the Adaptation, YouTube channel that reviews adaptations from one format to another. This week, we are back. Sorry for the last 2 weeks. We weren't able to do episodes, but we're back, and we're going to be discussing MURDERBOT, Season 1, Episodes 3, 4, and 5.
Yes.
Some really good TV here, you guys.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about these episodes, Bill?
Well, let's see. 3 and 4 are directed by Toa Frazier, written by Martha Wells and the Weiss brothers, as well as Episode 5 are written by that. I'll have to pull that director up. That's what I was trying to do, and why I got lost there for a second. But I'm going to break down each episode for you real quick. We had Episode 3, Risk Assessment. As we dive into the episode, we find Murderbot contemplating the personal hell that is teamwork. As the preservation crew and Murderbot make their way to Deltfall, Murderbot starts to ask the important questions like, is sitting a human fetish? Also, we get confirmation that Garathan is indeed creepy AF as he sniffs Mensa's pillow. I'm just saying, it's not right. On arrival at Deltfall, Murderbot finds everyone dead. Well, not everyone. There is a sec unit that has been implanted with an override module, tries to kill Murderbot. Luckily for it and us, Murderbot gets his tactical plans from soap operas, so it's okay. Only then is he shot in the back by a younger model sec unit, much like the wife of a 50s ad agency executive. Then we move on to Episode 4. We open with Sec Unit Factory, the Corporate Rim. It's almost comfortable seeing that greediness still makes the future just as inefficient as it is now. Plus, we get Murderbot in a jar. I mean, you can't go wrong with that, right? Mensa faces a crisis of conscience and decides to face her fears. As Murderbot proves, you cannot program being in tune. And he does that by singing the theme song of Sanctuary Moon, just to distract the rogue sec unit, or the dark sec unit. I like that better. As he tries to put the override module in his neck. By the way, did you know that sec bots have blue fluid inside? Neither did Mensa, but she found out pretty quick when she stabbed it with a mining drill.
Go Mensa.
I know, it was pretty awesome. She is badass. Just then, we get a glimpse inside the awesomeness that is Murderbot's head. Don't worry, we're going to talk about all that stuff, and there is a lot to talk about there. But just as the rogue sec unit catches up to them, Newton's laws of physics sort of kick in, and yeah, well, not in a fun way. Not for that sec bot anyway. Then we move on to, well, actually, I forgot, he does shoot himself in order to save the others. Until the humans fuck it up in the next episode and try and bring it back. Which they successfully do, and he is surprised, but he's also kind of happy, which is a little weird. He is called out by Garathan. He then proceeds to override Garathan's paralysis.
It's awesome.
Choke him out and tell him I don't like you, although he doesn't actually choke him. He just holds him against the wall. And we meet a new character, La Bibi, who might as well have sus AF tattooed on her forehead.
La Bibi.
La Bibi. Right. They decide to go after the beacon since they can't set it off from there. And during that ride, they actually come to a consensus. Most humans are greedy bastards. Just as they're nearing the beacon, it explodes and the ship goes down. We fade to black. But that does free us up to talk about the episodes. Back to you, Glenn.
Indeed.
Hey, thank you for that, Bill. Well done.
Well done, Bill. Well done.
Well done. Just want to say thank you, Rosa, for the like, and I hope you catch this later when you've caught up. So, and Noam had a comment here. Could be worse, Rosa. I read the book after starting the season, so one of the scenes in 105 I thought had already happened because I just read it. God,
We were talking about that in the green room. You know, it blends. You know,
it does.
Yeah, it does.
Reading the books and that's because they're doing such a great job with this adaptation. It's hard to
and some of the dialogue is literally ripped from the page.
Yeah.
I mean,
Loving that
the
about it.
word, some of the dialogue is literally word for word straight out of the book.
Well, it helps that
I
Martha
really dig
Wells
that.
is so involved in this
Yes.
adaptation.
Yes.
You know what I love about that? They don't make a big deal about it. They're not going, look, the author is here. They're just like, yeah, she's absolutely here every day working with us, and that's it. That's the end of it. Like, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To add to that, Noman Garden, I will say Labibi is extremely uncomfortably horny. I mean, more horny than the Wheel of Time fandom. That's saying something.
And she flipped
Wow.
so fast from being scared for her life to, yo. I'm like, what the
What kind of
heck?
pee-pee does it have?
That whole
The
conversation.
BB wants the pee-pee. Like, no,
That's one of my
stop.
That whole conversation. It's just
that's
dear
one of my
God.
favorite scenes in these episodes. Is that because it just had me laughing so hard. I couldn't help it.
But
It
she
was
does
just
that whole description
hilarious.
of so
It-
it can be bigger and it can
The word,
If you
and I'm
press
just
the
like,
balls, it vibrates. And I'm like, oh my God, it's not even there, lady.
I looked at my
Oh.
wife during that scene and she's like, what the heck is going on? It was hilarious.
It was the. Did you see it? So, what do you guys think of this show? I take you guys liking it still?
Big fans.
I
big
love
fans.
this show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm falling in love with it even more every episode.
You know, I have only one criticism, and I think it's a pretty universal criticism. The episodes are over before you know it. That's why we can talk about 3 episodes today, because it's still only like an hour and 20 minutes
Well
of
reduced.
content. Oh,
It is. I love that it leaves me wanting more, but at the same time, damn it, I want more.
right?
Yeah.
Right? But that's not really a bad thing. It's
No,
not.
it's not.
What they're giving us small doses, but each dose is freaking amazing.
Oh, it already tells me I'm doing a reread really soon of the Murderbot Diaries. Probably after we finish the season and I'm able to move on from this book, in the Murderbot story, and I don't want to get them confused, I'll do that. But yeah, definitely going to be continuing with some Martha Wells again. It's to reread that stuff. So changes, all the changes I've seen actually work and have been for the better. I have not been puzzled except for the BB. I have not been puzzled at a change. And it's not that I don't see any way Labibi could be used. There are several ways I could see that character being used. So I'm not
Yeah, she'd
opposed.
like it.
So I'm not
Sorry.
opposed. I don't have anything against that change. Are there any changes that you that you are less than stellar happy with?
And this is
No.
what I'm so happy about with this
No.
show.
All right.
Because we're used to, I mean, this is the channel about adaptations. We're used to having to convince ourselves things change. They have to adapt for television. The people who haven't read the book won't get it, blah, blah, blah. I spent 3 years plus with the Wheel of Time telling myself that, adaptations, you just got to own it. And it's another turning of the wheel, blah, blah, blah. There's not a single change that I'm upset with at all. I barely notice the changes because they're
there.
good.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't sing the theme song from
There's some
Sanctuary Moon.
but they work still.
I don't even remember what he was doing. He was working at trying to override, the power problem on his own, and I don't even remember it. But it doesn't happen in the book. I don't remember how it happens, plays out, but everything from the time he walks in the door at Deltfall to the time he wakes up after shooting himself in the chest is just riddled with changes.
Yeah.
But they're done
not
so seamlessly. Yeah,
Right.
they're not in a bad way. They're done so seamlessly, and each of them make so much sense for let's tell this faster, let's add a joke, because it's a comedy. You got to keep the humorous beats every so often. You
So
know, you
far,
can't go too long without
you
one.
know, I feel like the writers of this adaptation totally understand the point of the series, the major themes of the series, and they're
Yes.
not trying to tell something else. They're just trying to deliver that
Excuse
with
me.
excellence. And so, yeah, they nuance things, they change some things, they go for some extra humor that always plays on TV, but they're not making any major thematic shifts because they have a priority of something else they want to tell. No, they're just giving us the Murderbot Diaries. It's glorious.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
this
mean,
right here, sure. The main
Yeah,
Murderbot
100%
show
agree.
exactly captures it.
So
Yeah,
right. Well
The
done.
vibes, that underpinning of uncomfortableness, of that awkwardness that exists when he's trying to make eye contact is there.
Yeah,
It
we're all
sings
used to
out.
this now.
yeah,
The lack of
Yeah.
eye contact. Can't do that. I can't look at you. I can almost look at you.
and that wasn't so bad. Yes, it was horrible. Back, what was that, episode 2?
Oh yeah, when Girthin
Okay,
forces him to
question.
look, and it's like, it was so uncomfortable.
It was. Did we witness Murderbot's first kiss?
Well,
I think we
being
did.
kissed, yes. First being kissed, I would say yes.
Yeah, I probably.
And he was literally
Yeah.
like, what was the line after that? Melt me down now.
Yes, melt me down now.
Yeah, and he didn't mean that in the good way. As in,
No.
I'm hot.
No.
That was in the
No.
dear God, I went out of here way.
Where's the
There are-
acid bath? I need it
There are
now.
so many beautiful one-liners on this show.
Oh,
I mean, and that's what made it hard trying to write down just a few to pick. But let's go with what's your favorite scene, Jim?
you know, before we jump to
You
favorite,
can-
did
okay.
you see that Reverse BLT has a point in the chat that we were talking about before we got on the show, and so is noticing the same thing. That yeah, I agree. The humans are a little less competent in order to allow the storytelling to take place. Basically, it's accomplishing some things. It's not that we think the humans are stupid; they're not, but they're being a little less competent. So this was a really good insight.
Good evening, Mitch.
Hey. All right.
Yeah, I can
scene.
agree with that because it allows us time to get to know Murderbot and sort of see where his head is at throughout the entire first season, which obviously we're feeling the connection and the greatness from the books just pouring out of the screen. Even though it's not scene for scene the same, it feels very much Murderbot.
Mm-hmm.
And for that, I am extremely grateful.
Favorite scene is hard. You asked your favorite scene, Glenn, but
Yeah.
there's so many good scenes. But for me, my favorite scene's from episode 5, where Dr. Mensa and Murderbot are flying. It's near the end of the episode. They're flying off to try to do the communication, and they have a conversation that for Murderbot is the first real conversation.
Yeah.
You know, and he's thinking about, this is so odd. I'm actually not just giving facts. We're actually talking. We have opinions, And it was like, oh, I enjoyed that.
Murderbot's first small talk. That's so cute.
Right?
How about you, Bill? Did you have a favorite scene?
I'm going to be honest. There are literally, I went through, there were 7 or 8 of shots that were my favorite scenes. But I gotta say, overall, the whole Sanctuary Moon thing, where he's got the Johnny Bravo absolute bouffant going,
Yes,
it just killed me. That hair, it was
they've designed
great.
that so beautifully, and they're gonna just keep leaning into that. Oh, that's so, I love it.
Yeah, I love every moment with Sanctuary Moon stuff. It's just so gloriously campy.
Oh yeah,
and it's just a wonderful thing to see that much camp packed into that little bit of time.
Yeah.
Did you have any other? Did you have a scene you'd like to point out other than that? Other than that, though, Bill.
Oh God, I mean, when he's fighting the first sec unit, the one that was playing possum on the ground, that sort of Sherlock Holmes moment where he's going through the move set that the the other sec unit is about to do, that the CG on that was just so smooth, seamless.
I agree.
Yeah.
It was great. The whole
And honestly,
setup.
the fight choreography is really good too. Yeah.
I think my favorite scene it's my favorite scene so far in the season, but it's also probably my favorite scene in the book, and that's the confrontation after Sec Unit wakes up and Girthin has found out that he's cracked his governor
Dun, dun, dun.
nodule.
Yeah.
That whole scene there, I just loved it. I've been waiting for it, so that's what what I liked about episode 5 so much is it had that scene finally.
Yeah.
But
and it's where preservation, those people show their true colors and why we love them. Because when it comes out, basically, okay, Garathan, you're telling us it has free will, could have killed us at any time, chose to protect us anyway. So the issues we had with having a sec unit don't actually exist. It has free will. What's the problem? I mean, that's basically what they get to, and I love that about them.
Yeah, that was like that. But I also I gotta point out there's some lines of dialogue that I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
One was, they asked Sec Unit, "Are you a danger to us?" And Sec Unit takes forever, gives an answer, and then Rothy's like, "You just paused for quite a long time before you said that." And Sec Unit's just like, "Yes." And I'm just like, wait.
But he paused before he said it.
You're nailing that. Yes.
Yeah, and it was just like, I love when Sec Unit is singing the theme song from Sanctuary Moon. That scene, that moment is just really funny.
And the rogue Sec Unit just does not know what to do. It's great.
But I think one of the funniest, and there's a lot of funny stuff with Labibi, but the scene, what's your name? She's sitting there with Arata, and Arata's like, "What's your name?" Labibi, and the whole thing with getting it pronounced right. "That's a beautiful name," Arata says. "Where are you from?" "Industrial Junction 151523. That sounds nice." And I'm just like,
politeness is hardwired. Yes.
Right? And I'm just like, it just the way Tatiana Jones performs and delivers those lines, it is part of what cracks me up on it so much. And then she's like, "I think you were in shock. Maybe you're in shock." And I'm like, yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Or faking it really sort of okay.
The kiss did have me laughing out loud, too. I mean, literal laugh.
Well, it literally is too short to deliver the way she wants to, and has to.
No, reverse BLT. I do not agree that she's a comfort unit. She would be way better at seduction if she were a comfort unit.
Yep.
She is awkward AF.
It's a theory that's out there. It's a legit theory. I disagree with that theory. No.
Yeah, I don't think so. She's not good enough at seduction. At least not so far.
She's way too awkward.
It'd be interesting, though. It'd be interesting if she is some sort of second or robot construct. But
she could be.
But she was dreaming and visualizing how Sec Unit's member could do things. And I'm like, no, if a comfort unit, she would know it has nothing. Okay, she would just know it. So, and she wouldn't care if it could do things to her because she just exists to give pleasure, not get.
Right.
God, that sounds awful. I'm just saying.
Yeah. First pleasure bot I ever saw in any kind of fiction was Jude Law's character in AI. He was a sex bot.
That movie breaks my heart. I've only seen it once, and
didn't we have? And I'm rusty, but all the way back in Blade Runner, didn't we have?
I couldn't sit through that
constructs that were there for pleasure.
Probably, I've never been able to sit through that movie.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those
movies,
but
groundbreaking. So
I mean, it's not as bad as me with. It's not as bad as I am with, like, say, Edward Scissorhands. I mean, yeah, that chases me out of the room. But you know, I'll watch if somebody puts
Oh.
Blade Runner on. I'll pay half attention. I've never been, and you would think it's right up my alley. It never clicked for me.
Yeah, let's continue on and all agree that Glenn has horrible taste in movies. Okay.
Best
Yeah.
thing about Edward Scissorhands, by the way, though, is Vincent Price.
I
A
didn't know
class
Price was
act,
in it.
man. His final movie. I've loved all
Wow.
his movies. Not that I was old enough to see them in the theaters, but you know, good
Right.
movie.
Pit and the Pendulum. Good stuff.
Fall of the House of Usher. The original Fly.
Oh yeah,
And on and on.
that's some good movies back in the day. All right, what are some lines of dialogue, guys, that particularly got you going one way or another? Anything stands out?
I mean, honestly, them sort of defending Murderbot to Garathan about he literally shot himself to keep from hurting us.
Yeah,
He wanted to hurt us. Why would he do that? That makes no sense.
Yeah.
And realizing that their whole thing about how wrong it is that he doesn't have personal freedom, only to freak out when he has personal freedom, a little bit hypocritical. And they realize that, and they spot it and go, "Okay, we're not."
And the only one who doesn't see how hypocritical he is Garathan, because he didn't go up in preservation on, preservation, whatever it's called. They are used to thinking of robots and constructs as people. He's not. To him, he's only been there, I think they said 6 years, I think is what they said in the first episode.
He is a convert.
Yeah, he's trying to learn, but
we saw from the very first scene that he's still not all sold on this hippy dippy stuff.
Yeah, they had to call him over to the consensus.
Right.
Even I'm a little not sold on some of the hippy dippiness these characters have. I mean, wow, there's hippy dippy, and then there's hippy dippy. Wow.
My favorite line is a series of lines, and it's simply what we see after Murderbot has shot himself, and his inner monologue as they're trying to bring him back, and they're like, these idiots, and yes, I will murder them all, and he's just factually commented on these things, and then finally it dawns on him, oh, maybe they're smarter than I thought they were. Just that progression in his stuff is really entertaining and has a lot of value.
Granted, this might be a little bit on the recency bias side of things, but I am actually thinking this might be the best use I've seen of voiceover.
I can't think of a better example.
If not ever, then in a long time.
No, you're right. I cannot think of
it's better than what they did with Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Mm-hmm.
The Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles. And that was brilliant. I've always used that as like the prime example of this right here is how you do voiceover.
It's setting a new bar for voiceover.
Yeah. Very much so.
I mean, it's no David Lynch's Dune, but sure.
That's the opposite end of the spectrum, and
it is. That's why I said it.
What's key about Murderbot's use of voiceover is, and this is straight from the books, it's so interwoven into the live dialogue and action, and that's what I was most concerned about this adaptation. How would they capture that? And they freaking nailed it. And we got to give it to Alexander Skarsgård for his delivery of all of this.
Oh yeah,
but it's also the editing, because he's just saying the lines in a room earlier, and then they're blending it in perfectly.
That dopey look on his face in episode 4, though, you can't teach that.
He says a lot with his eyes. He is acting a ton with his eyes.
He's going to be nominated for, I'm guessing, comedy, sitcom. I don't know what the categories are anymore. Man, but it'll be a comedy category.
These kind of shows don't always garner those awards because they're too funny. So people don't take them seriously enough for the quality, but there's so much quality here. Yeah.
They actually, you're pointing out, the thing on your fear with the dialogue and how they would play it and everything, and that the line of dialogue that I was pointing out that I really liked, talking about, you paused a really long time. That was kind of hanging a lantern on, hey, look, we know we're doing voiceover, and the voiceover takes time, but they're like, hey, we're gonna make a joke about it ourselves, and
Yep.
I think that's what that line was.
Reverse BLT has a great last chat comment there about this inner dialogue, and completely right.
Yeah,
They
knowing
can't
when
use
to
all
leave
of
it
it.
out.
There's no way it wouldn't work. It would slow down too much. So they have chopped, but what they are using is just right. It's just enough. Yeah. It goes back to great adaptation writing.
And Reverse
I love
BLT
the
will be
fact
on
that
this
they-
show in a couple of weeks.
Whoop, whoop.
I love the fact that they addressed why sec units look different. They immediately jumped on that and said, so if one of them goes rogue, they'll have a better way of identifying them.
And I don't think that's in the books.
No,
I don't think it
they
is
ever
either, but it
addressed
makes
that in the
sense.
books. So that was great. I loved it.
but that's how much do you want to actually believe her, or did she just pull that out of her ass, made it up?
It doesn't matter. We have an in-world explanation, even if it's faulty. We have
Okay.
one.
Okay.
So if we meet another sec unit and they happen to take their visor down and they don't look like him, we can go, oh,
Right.
that's
The
why.
one thing where they'll have differences is the body build, because we've already seen different builds of sec units. Body, the ones that he fought had different builds in Skarsgård, which is a difference from the book. The books, they're all the same, to the point of them being interchangeable as long as the face is covered.
Right.
Because I don't know if they're going to go how they're going to play that in the rest of the season, but we'll see. We'll see if they use that charade.
Unfortunately, that dark sec unit is no longer available to view.
Right.
Thanks to the Deus Ex Shuttle.
Yeah. I mean,
The Hopper
that
Hops.
sec unit's performance was a little flat, though.
Very, very flat indeed.
That's a violation of the Schwarzenegger pun abuse law.
Hey, there are
No
no
such
rules
thing.
against puns. There are
No,
none.
there are no rules with puns or any other type of play on word.
Oh my goodness.
Quality of stuff like, for a half-hour show, I'm just not expecting this high a quality of production and CG, especially the VFX are just stellar.
Except I'm not surprised because it's Apple TV Plus. That's all they've delivered with any of their content. They especially the sci-fi. They nail it again. They don't care how much money they lose. Apple has made so much money off of people like me who buy every friggin' device they have that they're willing to go with a loss because they're playing a long game. And eventually they're going to be the dominant network for this sort of stuff. That's what they're going for.
And this is my first Apple Plus show. So if all their content is this good,
it is.
I may have to jump in there.
You need to watch Silo, my friend. Have you read the Silo trilogy by Hugh Howey?
No, I haven't.
It's good, but even without watching it, the Silo TV adaptation, 2 seasons are out there. They're freaking amazing.
I'll have to give that a shot.
You will not regret it.
I'm really happy with Foundation. As different as Foundation is from the book, and it is very different.
Yeah, they're covering stuff that's not even in the books, but it's related to the books. Yeah.
Yeah. I really think that's probably the best adaptation that series Dune could ever have gotten. Or not Dune, Foundation could have gotten.
But regardless of whether you agree or disagree with the content choices, the quality is off the charts again. Yeah, they spare no expense.
Nice.
Yeah. Wheel of Time would be really nice if it was on Apple TV Plus.
I'd totally be okay with that.
Any science fiction or fantasy franchise show that they pick up is something that's going to catch my eye after MurderBot and Dune or Foundation. Why do I keep saying Dune?
I don't know, but Apple TV really hasn't moved hard into fantasy yet, though. They've done a lot of sci-fi, a lot of dramas. They've done some great comedies too.
So they could use a good
They
sci-fi as well.
could use a good
Or a good
fantasy.
fantasy.
They would bring the Wheel of Time and put Rings of Power to shame.
Do it. Do it.
That's right. Come on,
Do
Apple.
it.
Do it.
Could you imagine if it was Apple that picked up the Rift War, the Midkemia stuff?
Oh,
Oh.
that would be so
Be
awesome.
fantastic.
That would be epic.
That is
fantasy
the next
television.
waiting series to be adapted. Rift
Well,
War.
it's been picked up. It's been picked up by like a studio, but not a network yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm waiting on that. All right, where were we? What were we talking about? Oh yeah, production. Everything's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Especially So, I guess we can move along to who are some of the actors that topped. Let's go episode by episode though on this
Okay.
one. So in episode 3, whichever title that one was,
Risk assessment.
Risk assessment. Thank you. So I have to I can't see this screen without my glasses, but if I have my glasses on, I can't see the other screen, so I keep going back and forth. Yeah, I was definitely Nomo Dumaswani. I'm not sure how her last name is pronounced. As Dr. Mensa, Ida Mensa, is totally. She's just that actress is just amazing.
The best performance of the group from Preservation Alliance, which is good because
Right,
she's
right.
the leader, but
Yeah.
she is the best performance so far. Yeah.
How about you, Bill?
I'm loving Tatiana Jones, Arata.
Arata is awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm
She's
really enjoying that performance. It's been consistent, and it's the same sort of great heart, a little too innocent for their current situation, and you just want to protect her like a little puppy. You're like, no, don't hurt her.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
it just invokes those feelings of the whole performance she's given. So I enjoy that.
Sabrina Wu has been pretty awesome as Pinley. But the other person you can't talk about this show without talking about Skarsgård.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But I have him for episode 4, so I figured I'd go with somebody else.
I mean,
Wait,
I've
what?
got him down for all 3 episodes.
Oh, yeah. I could put Skarsgård
same
as number 1 for every freaking episode.
Him and Noma does Dumaswani. I'm gonna go Dumaswani. It's just that they top every episode. It's just who with them. And you're going Skarsgård for episode 4, Bill?
Oh yeah, he kills it.
Across the board. This show could be called Skarsgård and His Minions.
Skarsgård it is.
Good.
Yeah.
That's the way it's written, though. I mean, Murderbot Diaries is about Murderbot. It really is. And then the peripheral players and how they change him. But it's But it's still all about Murderbot.
Yeah, I've been doing that too.
Yeah, I can't help myself with that because it is designed male in the appearance, so that it happens.
The other people I would add, in episode 4, that's the one where they're going into where Rathi goes to go rescue Mensa and them. I've got Akshay Khanna, who plays Rathi, down as my 3rd place for that episode, just because I thought he was funny as hell.
Oh, great comment.
All of his bad discipline with the gun, even that
lack of trigger discipline,
knocking himself out with the freaking gun,
sweeping people.
He kept pointing it, and I'm like,
whoa! But then his the delivery of it, and then I could see as he's going down the ramp, I could see how that would be an issue. It's just his immediate contrition from being a stupid idiot the moment before. It's just the way he performed, he delivered that. I just got a kick out of that. And I think he's pretty funny. Everybody on the show is pretty damn good in the role they're playing.
You know, they've leaned into the humor of the throuple. Okay, so
Yeah.
in that dynamic, Raffi is like, I need to man up here now. I need to do, and Pin Lee is like, what are you doing? It's like that. No, that is not what you do. You know, and they're trying to figure out what their roles are, and it adds to the humor big time.
Well, I love it that he's emotionally mature, except when it comes to the sort of macho attitude, and then he gets toxic as soon as he gets in it. It's hilarious.
I'm gonna grab the gun and man up. No.
Yeah, it's like,
Or-
dude, stop.
Or
Stop.
when everybody was starting to get nervous with, that when Mensa wasn't responding and he's like on the radio, people are getting worried here. The others are starting to panic a little. It's just like, right. Except it's you who's panicking
The
there.
one that most impresses me about that whole group, though, is I come back to Dr. Mensa, because she is the most in touch with her inadequacies. She's the leader of the group. She has responsibility, and she has frickin' panic attacks, and she has to manage those. And she's not in denial about her own personal imposter syndrome issues.
No.
She's
Right.
doing the best she can, and it's so authentic. It's so genuine. This is a character. It's not there just for humor. It's there to move us. So I love me some Dr. Mensa.
I love that they're allowing her to sort of come to the decision that, okay, sometimes I need to assert authority, whether we're this commune or not. Sometimes
That's right.
I have
What
to
about
step in.
consensus? We'll get there eventually. That was a great
Yeah.
line.
Sometimes you have to take the reins, otherwise
Yes.
you crash.
Yes.
Well,
And-
it's like she ordered Pin Lee,
yeah.
and that really wasn't cool. And that, I liked Pin Lee's
I thought
reaction.
it was the perfect thing to do in that moment.
It was, but
Some would
I
say
could tell
that
her
was a dick
that
move.
from
Don't do
Pinley's
that. Yeah.
point of view, that was a dick move. But it was necessary at the moment.
Mhm.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I love they're giving her that, though. I mean, you would expect them to keep her going with this sort of free love and everybody's equal spirit, but she does recognize there are times you have to, if you're going to lead, step up and do something.
They are helping us enhance the fact, though, that she is the one that Murderbot is feeling the most connection with. We really saw that in episode 5.
Yes.
No, all of them are doing things, well, except Guruthan. All of the others are doing things to endear Murderbot in certain ways. And yet, it's Mensa who's really bonding. There's something Murderbot can't resist about how Mensa treats it, respects it, understands its issues with eye contact and other things, and just, okay, we can work with this, and I am working with this with you. And that conversation they have on the shuttle was part of what plays into that so big. And really, this comes from the books. It does, and it's done so well.
That's the thing, is everything is executed just to the perfect note of the books, which is a rarity, especially to have changes that so clearly reflect the book. I'm not used to it, and I'm like, okay, here we go.
Now we'll see where they take Labibi.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
But don't take it too far. Come on.
Do you have a theory about who or what Labibi is? Anybody?
Yes. She's definitely working for the corporation. I believe she's the one that secured the modules, the override modules and stuff.
Okay.
That would be insidious and beautiful.
She is going to turn.
Dealt fall? Do you think she's actually dealt fall, or is she
no. She's corporation.
Okay. Because I would think she's with the other group, Grayson or whatever they're called.
Yeah, it very well could be. Great Crit as well.
Could be.
I don't know what they're going to do with that storyline, so I have no idea if they're even bringing that in or if they're going to just make it the corporation. So, not sure. But I think she's definitely working for them, and she is going to turn on the group probably next episode.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I
In
can't see
colloquial
her
terms, she's working for the man. Yeah.
There you go.
But they did already establish she's corporate rim. You know, she
Yes.
is that
Corporate
side
rim.
of things, which Preservation Alliance is totally not. And she has a different filter. She looks at things through. And whether it's that she's working deliberately and is the big bad, or whether it's a naivete that's going to lead her to do some stupid, really bad things, I'm interested to find out which way they take it.
It could go either way.
Well,
Yeah.
She is trouble.
there was a scene in the trailers that I think directly relates to her. So
I haven't watched the trailer
I
yet.
don't watch the trailers. I keep my mind pure.
I
just
watched
haven't
the trailer.
bothered.
So I'm looking at that scene going, okay, that situation, I can't see them letting a stranger in, and all of a sudden they have a stranger in there. I'm like,
Now
okay.
you're talking about way back, the original trailers
Yeah.
for the show? Okay.
Yeah, there's
That's
one
so
scene.
far back. How do you keep that in your memory?
I watched a lot of reaction videos, honestly.
Because
I wanted to see what other people
but
were
I
feeling.
didn't dissect it like I did the Wheel of Time trailers. I went overboard on those, but I didn't do it on the Murderbot one. No,
I
I was
did.
like, "Oh, this
Just-
looks good."
Just with myself, I did. I do it with all the stuff. I did it with The Long Walk when that trailer came out like a month ago. I went back, reread The Long Walk, and
The
broke whole
Long
trailer
Walk
down.
movie that's coming out is gonna be amazing. Oh my
It
goodness.
does. It looks awesome.
Oh,
I can't wait to do that like Halloween of
Excited.
next year.
oh, so excited.
I don't know this movie.
Oh,
It's Stephen King.
based on a
Oh,
Richard Bachman book. Yeah, it's
Okay.
Stephen King pseudonym, but it's great.
Gotcha.
And again, they
So-
captured the essence. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like they did.
One thing I want to go back to production side of things for a second. I can't decide if I think it's brilliant or just silly as hell looking, but Dr. Mensa wearing pants underneath shorts. Her wardrobe is just the most. It looks. She's the only one who does it on the show too. Nobody else is wearing shorts over pants.
I can't
it's
say I
just-
noticed.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
just so. It looks kind of funny, but in a way, it really, really fits Mensa. You know, I kind of wish Leigh-A was here already. Was able to make it earlier, but because I want to get her thoughts on the wardrobe on this show.
Okay.
You know, some of the costumes are interesting, but not
But-
something that sci-fi is often known for. Fantasy, yes, but sci-fi not as much.
Skarsgård actually put a video out of him getting ready in his Murderbot outfit. And you'd be surprised how much of that looks like, pads and other stuff. It's not. It's just printed on the shirt with shading to make it look like it is.
Huh.
Oh wow!
When he puts it on, and it takes him like 40 minutes to get into everything, and he's sweating and
Yeah.
struggling to get everything on. But yeah, a lot of it is just really good costuming. It's not bulky, it's not big.
The
It's
only
awesome.
thing production wise that I've gone and looked at and gone, okay, they did it great, but how well does that work? Is what Murderbot goes into when he needs to be healed, when he needs to be fixed.
Oh,
That whole stand
Cubicle.
up thing
Oh,
doesn't
yes.
make a lot of sense. They're doing it for television, I guess, and that's not how I pictured it in the books. And
I always pictured it standing up.
no, I
Yeah.
pictured it laying flat.
Well,
I picture it
if a
standing up
security
like a coffin almost
it-
that he goes.
if a security unit's needed in a hurry, it's a lot faster to get it in gear from a standing up position in a cubicle than laying down on a pillow or on a bed, on a gurney of some sort.
Well, I try and keep in mind it's the corporation. They're going to be as cheap as possible. So it's literally going to be like a wooden box with whatever he has to plug into,
But
and that's built into the
think through the technology. The way it's designed right now, they can work on one area at a time. That's horribly inefficient. You know,
Well,
why not be a big tube at least? And you've got stuff going on
Oh, yeah.
everywhere, wherever it needs to
Well,
be.
yeah, it should be top to bottom, you know, but they wanted you to be, it's like, why does Iron Man take his helmet off all the time? So you can see Robert Downey Jr.'s face. You want to be able to see your actor in this cage, you know, in this cubicle getting fixed, you know, so they minimize the amount of it that's physically there, so you have better visibility of the actor.
It's not a big issue for me. It's
No.
the one
Oh, I
thing that
get you.
stood out going, that's not
Yeah,
hard.
I get you.
That was all.
You know, but it also takes up less space having them standing up than laying down.
Theoretically, that's not quite true. It takes up the exact amount of space.
Well, I mean,
it takes up as much available. It takes up as much available space, like floor space.
Okay.
Has a smaller footprint on the floor.
I will defer to that rephrasing. Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm playing devil's advocate now.
Yes, you are.
Hey, feel free.
Not even bad. I do it all the time too. So, and then somehow I get myself stuck in taking an argument that I hadn't intended to take the side of, and then I'm like, wait, why am I doing this?
I'm noting most of the people in the chat, by
too.
the way, are totally agreeing with the stand-up version is what they pictured. So I'm the outlier, you know, and not seeing it that way. It's all good.
I did pictures, but it's way too big. Yeah. So yeah. What's next, guys? Well, let's talk about the themes. I mean, this show is the show and the books. They're just chock full of themes.
Rich themes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who wants to start?
Anxiety. I mean, even in his fantasy, Murderbot is stressed out and not able to do his job. And that's how he feels when he's not in his fantasy world. But in his fantasy world, he feels the same way, which is, in a way, just heartbreaking. But at the same time, I can relate as somebody who suffers from anxiety. I get it 100%. I understand where you're coming from.
Sure. Control versus free will is huge here.
Yeah.
And that's a theme throughout the books, but it was on full display here in episode 5 for sure, but also 4. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I have to agree with those. And that free will and versus agency type concept, it's also falls into play with the issue of slavery, which, you know, we see in the one episode, it's an indentured servitude, which is
slavery,
really slavery.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's just say what it is.
Signed up for is the only difference.
Yeah. And then the way they treat constructs and robots in the corporate rim is a form of slavery, and they've made that clear. They've used the word, you know, on the show. They've used enslavement. And part and parcel with that is going to be, you know, discussions of equality, and you see a lot of equality coming about, you know, especially with the, you know, Preservation Alliance group. You know, what we hear about their cult, you know, their society, and it's very egalitarian, you know, with everybody pretty much on an equal level. And that you just pick up a lot from them on that.
Yeah.
There's actually some really good carryovers from I don't know if you guys have watched the Alien movies. Are you cool with that franchise? Okay. Alien Romulus has some very cool carryovers to Murderbot.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And when we're talking about the agency of constructs, you know, the very similar themes I get from that.
Yeah. I saw somebody talking about, what if this was just an Expanse spinoff? They're in the same universe.
Could be.
Yeah, it could be. You know,
and I'm like, can you imagine Murderbot and Amos hanging out?
Good
Or
no, well,
oh
that
man,
would be very dysfunctional, actually. I don't know
I
what
know.
they do.
That's what I'm saying.
I-
It would be a mess.
they wouldn't talk. That's for
No,
sure.
no.
Um,
Murderbot would look over there, and Amos
I
would
mean,
look over
they're both
there, and
the one thing they have in common is they're both that guy, and that's about it. You know.
I will now kill for Murderbot to nickname someone Peaches.
Oh, jeez.
Peaches. Yeah, I wasn't too sure about Peaches at first.
Oh no, yeah, you had to come along, but yeah.
Yep, definitely works. There's also, and I don't know exactly what his trauma was, but there's hints of trauma with old guy right here.
Pillow sniffer? Yeah.
Pillow sniffer. But like I told you before, in the green room backstage, I think I don't think we did it on here once we went live. His pillow sniffing is weird. I'm not trying to say it's not, but I think it's him trying to get back, find some comfort back to. He needs to feel like he's being hugged by Dr. Mensa. He's dependent emotionally on the Dr. Mensa, and that seems pretty clear, especially on the show. And it was this shot here that got me thinking about it, to be honest. And I started paying more attention to it. And yeah, Garthan went through something bad, and all these characters are going through something bad right now, And
Well, yeah. Otherwise, we don't have a book. I mean,
yeah. But how the different characters are each dealing with trauma. I mean, Bardwaj, she was recovering physically. Of course, she's sitting there bawling her eyes out in episode 2.
I have some modules.
Yeah, and she started to say and we don't hear what the modules were for, why he has them, but why does he have them? Because something happened to him. Something led to him leaving Corporate Rim and going to Preservation Alliance. And I'm curious to see what that is, if we ever will see what that is. Trust versus suspicion. There's a heck of a lot of that. Garthan is full of suspicion of Sackpot. While other characters are maybe naively being too trusting to start. Maybe. I'm not saying yes or no, but
I have a theory about that, actually, that Garthan survived the attack that Murderbot keeps getting glimpses of.
yeah.
I think that may be what traumatized him.
Maybe.
Ooh, the terror of vulnerability. And we even see Murderbot in that situation. In episode 4? Yeah, episode 4.
Yeah.
Apparently he sings when he's vulnerable.
He doesn't sing well, but he sings.
Right. I always wondered, for people who can sing, is it easy or hard to sing off key?
If you can sing, it's really hard to sing off key. It just really grates on your soul.
It's supposed to.
As someone who can't sing, I had to ask. I've always wondered. I feel bad for actors that have to try to sing off key, especially when most actors can actually sing.
That reminds me. Everybody, go search the opening theme song of Sanctuary Moon. The Apple Plus released it to YouTube, the full song, so you get it front to back, the whole song.
With no garbling?
No garble.
Nice. The casting and makeup job on that show is just funny.
Oh, that hair.
The different hairstyles are just wild. I mean, I thought I've seen some wild stuff in science fiction, but never a science fiction show that's set, that's a science fiction show for a science fiction audience,
I mean,
character.
it's a soap opera in space completely, and they're leaning into it beautifully.
It tells me that people will still be into science fiction when this takes place, and there'll still be people who think science fiction's crap.
Well, I love the fact that Murderbot clocked Labibi as he didn't trust her because of her taste in television shows. He's like, terrible show, no.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's okay. That's a little subtle foreshadowing. She likes a crappy show. She can't be trusted.
Ooh, my best friend years ago, because she hated her choir teacher, learned to sing in a flat monotone.
That's brutal. Brutal.
Wow.
I don't understand that at all.
I just, yeah.
I'm not even going to attempt that, man. I am horrible.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
Like
I love that moment in the first episode when Ralphie called Gurathan over to do the consensus, and he was doing it, get over here, and it's people all singing it. And I just like, thought
that's all right. It was perfect.
That was great. Yeah, that character is something else, Ralphie. Sometimes he's like, he's all right, and then other times he's just a total idiot. But
like all humans, you mean?
Pretty much. And then we haven't even really this episode much looked at the big theme with Murderbot, and that's neurodivergence.
Oh yeah, they're delivering this better than anything I've seen.
Yeah,
100%.
I mean, I've known people that have hit most of the different points on the spectrum, and Skarsgård's hitting it, nailing it. He's hitting it on the head. And it's some of the best acting I've seen in a half-hour comedy ever.
Oh, great.
I'm used to half-hour comedies being the crappy sitcoms that network television has.
Seriously, I can't watch those things anymore.
I haven't been able to watch those in ages.
Right?
I just, not for me.
I mean, I watch MASH, so.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Does that really count, though? Because
Hot Lips passed away just recently.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that.
Loretta Swit.
Oh,
That's sad.
it's a moment.
I grew up with that show. I mean, Hawkeye Pierce was a big influence on me as a kid.
Oh yeah. What
the other television influence was Magnum PI.
Oh, Tom Selleck in that role. Yeah.
Yeah, Tom Selleck's Thomas Magnum and Alan Alda's Hawkeye Pierce were like the two characters that I looked up to the most as a kid. Go figure.
I love MASH, and my son actually got me the entire MASH series for Father's Day. He brought it to me last week,
man.
And
I need to do a rewatch.
I used to watch it with my dad, so I got great memories associated with that show, and we loved it. So,
I
started rewatching that.
It's timeless. I mean, there are elements that would be so canceled today.
Oh,
yeah. Right.
Just set that aside. Put it in the period it's in and enjoy the heck out of it.
Yes, it was a great show. One of the all-time greats.
That final episode.
So much comedy, but themes that were deep embedded in there. It was wonderful.
All the time.
Yeah, that's another show that did trauma really well. So,
it did.
It's nice to see ways that they've sort of advanced storytelling a little bit. Because I will admit some of the MASH stuff is a little clunky.
This is the 80s, 70s and 80s, man.
I know.
Television storytelling.
It's great to have a show like Murderbot. It doesn't handle
cross-dressing very well.
No.
Klinger. But see,
Klinger, but so funny at the same time. Just take it for what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't see anybody running around trying to cancel Jamie Farr. I mean, come on.
Right.
And I fully understand that Hawkeye was rather quite a bit of a womanizer,
Oh, my goodness.
but and an
He's also an
alcoholic,
alcoholic. I mean,
but
You know,
I didn't end
how
up
many
either of
people
those.
built stills in their garage because of that show?
Probably a number of them.
I have friends, yes.
out there with copper tubing. When I started doing plumbing when I first graduated high school, I was a plumber's assistant. I started saving some of the copper tubing and I'd bend it. It's like, all right, I think I can get a coil out of this. I think I might be able to make the still.
Yes,
Nice.
yes. Mm. So good.
Well, did anybody have anything else they wanted to bring up about Murderbot episodes 1,
Just-
2, or 3?
This show is fucking awesome.
It's
Sorry,
yeah,
but it is.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it is.
incredible. You know, the one disappointment I have, and we've touched on it already, the shortness of the episodes, and that's something that's a choice. Okay, so
Yeah.
Apple TV. I don't know who actually is doing it. I mean, if it's Apple TV producing it or another studio producing it, I don't know. But
I'm not sure.
they chose to make these as half-hour episodes, 25 minutes, whatever. They could have chose to make them longer.
Yeah.
10 episodes per season, which is Apple's format. They made these tiny episodes. They could have adapted more
Yeah, well,
and made hour-long episodes. They could have done that. And so
if they'd done more than one book at a time.
right. And
Yeah.
they're novellas, so they should have done more than one book at a time. So that's just my one thought, one critique. Because you'll wait all week for 25 minutes. It's like,
But I am waiting
10
for those
hours
25 minutes.
10 hours would have been way too much time to tell all systems red. I don't even know if you need full 10 hours. Well, probably about 10 hours to tell the first 2 books. I don't remember the second book right now. I'd have to go back and reread it.
oh, second book's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I
If
remember
they
that.
done the first 2 books in the first season, that's 10 episodes.
Yeah.
With
I mean, as
more
it
like
is, they're taking
60-minute
taking
episodes.
longer to tell it than it takes to read the novella or listen to the novella. The TV season 1 is going to be longer. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just, we're actually getting a lot more Murderbot content from season 1 than we got from book 1.
This is true.
And I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, but I'm loving all the spots where they're foreshadowing other books. And,
Yes.
and you can look at some of the changes and go, oh, I see what you did there. I see where you're leading. That leads directly to book 4.
But then you start to wonder, these first 4 novellas, will they equal 3 seasons or even 2? Because they're bringing in these reveals and things early. I mean, where are they going to take that? I don't care.
I don't
do
either.
it so well. I'm just curious. What is that going to mean?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when this show is over, I'm going to be in sort of anxiety mode for the show, having recently lost Wheel of Time.
I'm going to be in hyper withdrawal. Are you kidding me? I'm like, wait, what do you mean there's not another one next week?
Yeah.
Oh, please,
waiting for the renewal
just
news.
At least give us another season just the following year. We've had these shows like Wheel of Time that wait 2 years before they roll out another season. No, stop that. It's hard to build a fan base when you don't come out with another season for 2 or 3 years. It's like, at least give us season 2 next year. That's all I ask.
Yeah.
With their shorter episodes, I'm pretty sure they can.
There's definitely a chance. Do you remember? I've been doing this comes from I've been doing a rewatch of Star Trek: The Next Generation recently. Do you remember when there were 26 episodes in a season and they came out every week?
Yep.
Yeah.
Why?
And
Why
if you missed
can't
it,
they
you had
do
to
that
wait
now?
until the summer.
Come
And then if you
on.
missed it, you had to wait until summer to watch it.
It was wait till reruns.
And that stuff was amazing.
And you go back a little bit further, and some of the shows were going over 30 episodes or 30 seasons or 30 weeks, episodes a year.
Yep.
In a season.
And now it's like 8 episodes, 10 episodes.
6.
That's a season.
6.
I'm like, okay,
It's the British model.
putting a lot of money into it, all this CGI, yes, but come on.
I like 12 or 13. 20 is like the max. 20 is too much. But
I don't feel like that as I watch Star Trek. I don't feel like it.
I like shorter because I like less filler. And so shorter seasons tend to have less filler, tend to have less filler than a long season.
Noman Garden's last point. Yes, I have that wall. I have that wall. It's blended with
Yes.
DVDs and Blu-rays, but I have a lot of VHS tapes.
My dad's got a lot of VHS tapes with Red Wings hockey on it. Still.
Upstairs, I still have a VHS player. I'm
Oof.
waiting for the grandkids to come over so I can amaze them with this mystical technology. I don't have grandkids
Oh,
yet, but Zach
yeah.
will get busy eventually, and then I will
Right.
have grandkids.
You get the feeling that's something he's been kind of prodding Zach about recently. Come on,
No,
Oscar.
no, but he knows my thoughts. That man, we need to do an episode on that.
That's
Content
true, no. But
reminiscent of having children. Yeah.
if
Oh, I
that's the
know.
case,
I know it
is it
well.
really filler? I don't know. I wouldn't say if it's good, it wouldn't be filler. But all right, I think we can wrap for the night. No Leigh-A tonight. Sorry, she wasn't able to make
Yeah,
it.
sorry,
Her
she
flight
couldn't
went
do that.
later than she thought it was going, so she should be back with us in next week or so here.
I mean, I was
Jim,
ready for
thank
her
you.
to jump in at the last minute. We'd spend 30 minutes just listening to her, and that would have been bliss.
That would have been great. But thank you, Jim, as always, for coming on.
Oh,
One of
my
our
pleasure.
Appreciate it.
favorite. And just because Jim's on here tonight doesn't mean we're closing out the season.
That's right. It's not the end, people. It's
not the end of the season.
Don't get
He'll be
confused.
back a couple. He'll be back a couple more times before the end of the season, so don't worry about that. Bill, thanks for doing
I'm on
our
next
recap.
week. I'm on next week already.
Already, see,
Schedule.
yeah.
Good.
I told Jim he could have the weeks he wants, and he sent me a list. I'll be here on this, and this date. And I'm like, okay.
When we will talk for 15 minutes.
Yeah, I mean,
One episode? What will we do with that?
so far it's all praise. So I feel like we're fanboying the hell out of the show, but at the same time,
Totally.
there just isn't that much to complain
Well,
about.
I'm so
and I-
happy
I-
for an
and I'm
adaptation
trying to
be a
nitpick.
fanboy about though. Oh my
I've been
goodness.
trying to nitpick, and I'm having a hard time because there's
Right?
not many nits,
Yeah.
and it just, hey, when good TV is on, when it's good TV, it's good TV. So
Yes.
thank you, Apple TV Plus, for this show.
Yes.
Thank you guys at home for watching. Thanks in chat, you guys. You guys all have a great night. Sleep well and wake. And we will see you next week with episode 6. Don't forget to be awesome.
See ya.